No programa de hoje, relembramos a noite histórica da luta em Dublin, que iniciou uma nova era no UFC. O campeão peso mosca Brandon Moreno relembra sua estreia no UFC contra Louis Smolka. O membro do Hall da Fama, Clay Guida, explica o que é preciso para viver sob o Código do Guerreiro. Olá e bem-vindos ao Conexão UFC. Em 2014, o octógono chegou a Dublin, Irlanda, para uma noite inesquecível. O impacto imediato de Conor McGregor no UFC lhe rendeu a chance de fazer o evento principal em sua cidade natal. O resultado foi um dos eventos mais inesquecíveis da história do UFC. E o jornalista de MMA Nick Pitt nos conta em primeira mão o que aconteceu enquanto relembramos essa noite em Dublin.
In terms of pivotal nights in the history of the UFC and, of course, the history of the sport itself, UFC Fight Night Dublin, it's got to be right up there, you know. This was Conor McGregor's coming home party.
This is the UFC, and we are the world watching!
It's the first time the Octagon had been in the Irish capital for 5 years. But more than that, it was the moment that Conor McGregor dragged the UFC back to Dublin. It was a phenomenal moment, not only for him, but all of Irish MMA. UFC first came to Dublin, UFC 93 in 2009, 5 years before Conor McGregor would make that walk. His teammate Tom Egan was actually on the card that night.
I guess this is an official welcome to Dublin. This entire place of thousands of people is going nuts for him.
Conor McGregor, up in the cheap seats, he made a mental note that night. He knew that the guy he trains alongside is now inside the UFC. Suddenly, Conor's dream of getting in the UFC was achievable. And of course, he was the one that made that dream a reality.
A lot of people have been talking about Conor McGregor for a long time, and we're going to find out if he's the real deal.
Conor McGregor starting the UFC was punch perfect.
This is what everyone's been talking about. It's all over. 60 G's, baby!
The UFC knew what potential they had. All he needed was the opportunity to show the world what he's all about.
This place is on its feet. This is something unusual. This kid's got something.
Conor McGregor with a dominant performance here tonight against Max Holloway.
If they got an event in the O2, it would sell out in seconds. I'm hoping to drag them back to Ireland, you know what I mean? Drag them by the scruff of the neck back and get a show on. It's not just me, there's a whole load behind me waiting to go, and I'm just going to kick in the door and drag them right back to Ireland.
The key to unlocking Ireland potential was always there. The fan base was always there. But what Ireland lacked was a superstar, a headline act. That's what they got with Conor McGregor.
They're headed over to Dublin, and it's a local boy done good who will be headlining. Conor McGregor will square off against Cole Miller in mid-July.
Cole Miller was really the first guy to call out Conor McGregor, so it made perfect sense.
I don't know what's up with these European fighters either. Ross Pearson couldn't beat me. Andy Young couldn't beat me. Dennis Seaver can't beat me. And you know what? Neither can Colin McGoober. So bring it.
Probably his first real trash talk rival, and he ate Cole Miller alive.
You know my name, yeah? I'm gonna make you say my name. I am going to break you. You're too slow. You're sloppy. You're less agile. I love it.
Ultimately, it wasn't to be.
The featherweight bout between Conor McGregor and Cole Miller is off. Miller has been replaced by Diego Brandao to meet McGregor in that night's main event.
It didn't matter who the opponent was that night. It made no difference whatsoever. It wasn't about the opponent. This was about Conor McGregor. That stage with SBG, they were sleeping giants. You could tell there was something a little bit special going on, led by John Kavanagh, of course.
Let's go.
This was their reward. It wasn't just about the guy in the main event. This was Irish MMA coming together and having their moments.
How big a deal is it for you to be fighting in the main event at home?
It's a dream come true, you know. When I first made my debut, I said a dream of mine was to come and drag the UFC back by the scruff of the neck to my hometown and get my teammates on. Now it's upon us.
This event was taking a life of its own, man. Everybody's talking about UFC Dublin all over the world.
The atmosphere during Fight Week in Dublin didn't feel like a fight night event. It felt massive. All the American media flew over as well. That's not something we see in Europe all the time.
Some of you guys glad you paid your own way over here this time? I mean, have you ever seen anything like it? No. I mean, insane.
Everybody was there. Everybody wanted to be a part of this moment. Fans, they just wanted to drink it in. Merchandise stalls were wiped out clean. You couldn't buy a T-shirt at UFC Fight Night Dublin. This was going to be the hottest ticket the UFC had sold in Europe for a long time.
We're on terrestrial TV. The whole of the country is going to shut down. This is Ireland's World Cup final.
I remember turning up at the weigh-ins and just looking around the sea of people. Paddy walks out for the very first fight. The place goes absolutely bonkers. And of course, Conor comes out, that famous pose now, which he's well known for.
146 pounds!
Then he does the face-to-face with Brandao. I don't think many people in Dublin slept that night. The anticipation from the next day was just so high.
Every featherweight head I'm coming for. Tomorrow I take his head clean off.
We were hours away then from what was going to be an incredible night.
Good evening and welcome to the Emerald Isle for UFC Fight Night, McGregor versus Brandao.
The amount of pressure on Conor McGregor's shoulders. He brought the UFC back to his hometown. He'd made sure the card was packed with his own teammates and own countrymen. Tickets had sold out in seconds. Finally, the world was at the door to say, okay, how good is this kid? Let's see how good he actually is.
We are broadcasting live from the O2 in Dublin before a record sellout crowd.
The atmosphere was just absolutely incredible. First fight, Paddy Holohan walks out, the place is absolutely bouncing.
Wow. First fight of the card, ladies and gentlemen. You don't normally hear a reaction like that.
He's got to deliver. He delivers.
Oh, this huge uppercut there.
And there's the tap.
Patrick the Hooligan Houlihan. What a fantastic way to kick off proceedings.
Now, don't you, Dublin. We're going for a cup of tea.
The atmosphere goes up a notch. Cathal Pendred comes out, gets dropped early in the fight. Anywhere else in the world, I don't think he gets through that fight. The crowd got behind him.
Pendrick underneath the chin of Mike King. He goes to a short choke.
He's out.
Mike King is out. Carl Pendrick comes from behind in Dublin.
With his victory, it notches up again in Neil Seary. He gets a win too. As we rolled into the main card, it was phenomenal. Norman Park comes out from Northern Ireland.
Then it's all over. Norman Park is victorious in Dublin.
The co-main event, Gunny Nelson. Listen, we know he's Icelandic, but the guy's pretty much an honorary Irishman. He gets a submission performance, of course he does.
Rear naked chokes out, Gunny stabs. The crowd goes wild.
The dream was on. You were kind of thinking, this is going to happen. They're going to get a clean sweep of Irish wins here. Then we got the ring walk for the main event.
And just listen to the soundtrack of this Dublin crowd.
Still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Everybody's on their feet. The atmosphere's electric.
The UFC could have sold this place out twice in double quick time.
All I could hear was every single person in that arena screaming and shouting and singing at the top of their voices.
Fighting out of Dublin, Ireland, the notorious Conor McGregor!
We'd already had this incredible night, these incredible performances. It was all leading to this moment, and you really felt that emotion.
Wow, here it is, the main event of the evening.
I remember sitting ringside and I had no doubt in my mind Conor McGregor was going to win. The narrative of the night was set. The script was written long before the ring walks even took place. You knew Conor was going to smash him up. You knew Conor was going to get the finish. You knew this place was going to go absolutely bonkers.
Big left.
Brandao looks hurt. This could be the end. This could be a stoppage. Another first round for McGregor. This could be it.
That is it. Wow. It is all over and Conor McGregor is victorious. The crowd go absolutely wild.
When that finishing punch landed, it was like a ripple effect through the entire arena.
He gets the knockout victory that he was looking for.
be. I don't know many Irishmen that like to spill their ale, but on that night, they all threw their ale everywhere in celebration.
The roof has been lifted off of the O2 here in Dublin as McGregor wears his tricolour with pride.
Post-fight comes out with the now iconic phrase.
We're not here just to take part, we're here to take over.
My goodness, if he didn't have those Irish fans eating out the palm of his hand until that point, he sure did afterwards. Irish MMA was ready to take on the world. This event was very much ground zero for the green wave. This travelling support of Irishmen were willing to go anywhere in the world to support their fighters. But it wasn't just Conor McGregor. Ireland as a nation wanted to take on Planet MMA.
Ireland, baby, we did it! Yeah!
Today, Conor McGregor is the biggest star mixed martial arts has ever seen. UFC Fight Night Dublin, that's where it all began. That's where he got the big finish. That's where the fan base got behind him. It was all born that night in Dublin.
A jornada do campeão peso mosca do UFC, Brandon Moreno, começou em 2016. Após perder o The Ultimate Fighter, Moreno ganhou a oportunidade de sua vida em uma luta com pouco tempo de antecedência. O jovem mexicano desafiou as probabilidades com uma grande e inesperada vitória, começando sua caminhada rumo ao cinturão do UFC. Moreno relembra aquela noite memorável em Minha Estreia.
Estar en el The Ultimate Fighter fue una situación en la cual aprendí muchísimo. Aunque haya perdido en contra de Alexandre en el primer episodio de la temporada, para nada pensé que mi sueño se había acabado ahí. Era muy joven en ese entonces yo seguí adelante. Para cuando yo debuté en la UFC, el programa de Ultimate Fighter todo estaba en vivo en la televisión. Entonces, Sergio Pettis se iba a enfrentar a Louis Smolka, pero Pettis sufre una lesión. Entonces, UFC decide tomarme a mí como elección. Entonces, fue una pelea que tomé con 2 semanas de anticipación. Fue un corto aviso, obviamente. Era una pelea bien dura contra un Louis Smolka que en ese entonces estaba rankeado como el número 9 de la división del peso mosca. Pero yo estaba muy motivado, estaba listo y tenía todas las ganas de demostrar todo el talento.
Brandon Moreno has a huge opportunity tonight. He has the opportunity to really make a statement in this division.
Nunca había peleado enfrente de tanta gente. Toda la gente estaba emocionada, gritando, saludándome. Yo estiraba las manos para saludar a la gente a mis lados, a mis laterales. Entonces estaba muy contento. La verdad es que disfruté muchísimo. De nuevo, estaba muy nervioso y la verdad es que sí tenía un pequeño vacío en el estómago. Pero conforme me iba acercando al octágono y conforme me iba revisando el referee, conforme me despedía de mi esquina y me subía al octágono, todo desaparecía para simplemente ser felicidad y vivir mi sueño al máximo. Subo las escaleras del octágono, empiezo a tocar los postes a un lado. Cuando me presenta Bruce Buffer, yo solamente reí, empecé a ver al suelo, no me lo podía creer. Grita mi nombre, Brandon Moreno. Fue impresionante y en el momento que dicen empieza la pelea, yo ya estaba listo. Ok, empieza la pelea, subo las manos. Yo sabía que Louis Smolka era un peleador muy alto para la división, pero que yo tenía la ventaja en el alcance de brazos. Entonces, Louis Smolka se me encima con una combinación, pero contraataco con una combinación de 3, 4 golpes, si no me equivoco. Por ahí suelto una patada, retrocedo. Se me encima de nuevo a atacarme, pero conecto sus caderas y lo llevo al suelo. Después de mucho intercambio dentro de la guardia, por ahí intenté que no me cerrara la guardia, pero lo logró.
Now open guard of Louis Smolka. Big right hand is there for Moreno.
Haya la forma de darse la vuelta y agarrar un derribo a una pierna, un single leg.
Smolka right in on a single leg. Now this is where Smolka shines.
Levanto un poco para intentar agarrar base para empezar a tumbarme, pero en ese momento que levanta la cabeza logro conectar la guillotina y desde ese momento yo sentí que mi brazo estaba completamente por debajo del cuello. Yo sabía que estaba durísima la guillotina. Realmente la estrategia no era esa, pero yo la sentí tan segura que decidí aventarme. Entonces me aviento la guillotina. De primera instancia defiende muy bien, pero yo seguía teniendo el cuello perfecto. Me lanzo a la guardia completa. Lo demás es historia.
guillotine. Smolka initially defended by rolling to his back. Thought he was out of there, but nope, elbow goes high. Moreno jumps right back on the guillotine, and from here, he's in trouble. He tapped once, referee didn't even see it, but then you see him start to slump over, and eventually he has to tap.
Yo recuerdo que después de que el referee para la pelea, yo me voy al centro del octágono y me iba a dar... Fue un sentimiento muy extraño porque iba a ser una explosión de energía, pero a la vez me traté de tranquilizar. De repente abren la puerta del octágono, dejan entrar a mi esquina, mi entrenador llega a abrazarme, más de mi esquina llega a abrazarme y después ya regreso al centro del octágono, ahora sí ya me la creo, empiezo a tocarme la cabeza de que no lo puedo creer, me levanto, pues empiezo a festejar yo solo y, híjole, fue un momento muy mágico.
Brandon, the assassin, baby, Moreno!
Sorry, I feel so happy. Wow, I don't believe it, really, I don't believe it.
Claro, fue arriba de mis expectativas, ¿no? Yo siempre estuve esperando el nivel de la UFC. O sea, yo sabía que llegar ahí, que llegar a las grandes ligas era lo máximo lo que podías aspirar en este deporte. Seamos realistas, la UFC es lo mejor. Llegó en mi debut, demuestro de qué estaba hecho, supero mis propias expectativas y de muchas personas también yo opino. Entonces, fue algo muy bueno para mí.
No início de 2021, o membro do Hall da Fama, Clay Guida, entrou para um grupo de elite ao fazer sua 30ª luta no UFC. Seu estilo selvagem e suas performances ambiciosas ao longo dos anos o tornaram muito popular entre lutadores e fãs. Guida fala sobre sua abordagem de luta no Código de Guerreiro.
It's in my blood. Competition, I was born to compete, and there's nothing I'd rather be doing than being in an octagon. Having that noise, that sound, the screaming fans, being able to lock eyes with your friends, your family in the crowd when you just slammed a guy or took him down or you're going for a submission. Seeing someone that has followed you throughout this journey and knowing that they're there with every single punch, every single takedown. It's an addiction. There's nothing like it. You never get over it. Fighting is in my blood.
Big right hand from Guida. Oh! Down goes Lozon. Wow! Clay Guida.
The waiting game is, I think, what separates me from the pack because that's part of the journey. I really enjoy being back there with my brother, with my coaches.
And that's his brother Jason about to do that patented slap in the face.
The slaps came from back in the day. Joey Gilbert used to slap my brother in the face before his fights, and then I started fighting, and my brother took it upon himself to start slapping me, and it was just one of those things that never got old, and it gets me ready for my fights. It's just a mindset. When I get in there, I don't care who's across from me. I don't care if it's King Kong or Godzilla, man. We're going to war. That's my cage. When it comes time to digging deep, and we've been in some of these battles, some of the tough ones, you know, Roger Huerta, you know, I got clipped at the end.
Slam there. Dancing with the right hand. He got rocked by Guida.
Diego Sanchez, I got clipped at the beginning, 100 times at the beginning.
Oh my God, swinging. Oh my God, unbelievable start. Oh, Diego's all over. Guida with the takedown, right into full guard.
Just adrenaline takes over, and your heart takes over, and just willpower is, you know, probably 80–90% of the fight. You know, when you get hit, you get banged up, you take a body shot or something, you get your bell rung, you know, and they can see blood in the water. You have to be able to find a way to compose yourself and think past that, think through that, and not show any fear, not show, you know, any sense of pain, because they can smell that, and you got to be ready for battle. Sometimes you got to put your emotions to the side. We get out there, you know, we're bloody, we're drooling all over the place, you know, and we could be cut, whatever it is. The important thing is just to stay focused and realize I impose my will. My wrestling, my cardio, my gas tank, my heart, and my demeanor is gonna always dominate my opponents. Respect is everything. I was taught that as a young boy. My old man taught me to look everyone in the eye, shake their hands, and I feel the same way in the cage with my opponents, with their coaches, with their team. I respect every single one of them. To do what we do, we're less than 1 percentile in the entire world, the entire universe. Not many people get out and fight, not many people get out and train every single day and get punched in the face. So I have the utmost respect for our teammates, our coaches, our opponents, and their camps as well. I want to be known as the workhorse of the UFC. I want to be known as the hardest worker out there, the toughest guy out there. My fights may not have been pretty, but that's not what we're in there to do. They know every time that it's going to be entertaining and the fans are going to be wanting more. And we owe it to them. They don't have to show up. Us as fighters, us as athletes, us as entertainers, we owe it to them to put on a show every single time. I don't just go out there and fight. People don't show up to a fight when they see Clay Guida. They come to see an event. And that's why we stand out from everybody that fights. You know you're going to get a fight of the night or fight of the year every time we step in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Carpenter Clay Guida!
E chegamos ao fim desse episódio. Entre em contato com a gente e compartilhe sua opinião online usando a hashtag Conexão UFC. Até a próxima!